Welcome to part 4 of creating a Dephemerember journal for my dear friend Luise Heinzl. If you missed the previous parts where I created this cover and selected the papers for our signatures, you can find the playlist linked below this video. So in this video, we're going to add some fun and messy details to the pages we've picked out in the previous video, bringing those signatures to life with layers and textures and lots of creative elements. But there's so much to do that this process will be split in 2 parts. Also, if you'd like to use the same digital papers that Luise and I are working with, I've linked them below on my Dephemerember info page. You'll find links to both the complete paper kits as well as a curated kit that includes only the pages we're using from each kit. So feel free to follow along or get inspired to add your own creative spin. As a reminder, Luise posted a video sharing her process for adding interest to the journal she's making for me. So grab your crafting supplies and let's dive right in. Welcome, it's Barbara from Vienna, Austria. So let's put the cover aside. We won't need that now. And I'm actually going to have to take these signatures apart again because I want to work on these pages. And I want to start off with all of the plain coffee dyed papers. So I'll take those out of all of my signatures. Will I remember where they were? Probably not. Does it matter? Probably not. So this one is not so plain anymore. Let's see if we'll add anything to that. So the first thing I'm thinking about doing on these is sewing around them a little bit. But I don't just want to sew around them like this. I want to also make them look a little bit more interesting by just folding up some of the corners. And then we'll just sew right on top of that. For example, I want Luise to have a wide variety of different papers. Let's tear this a bit. I think it can never be enough grunge and odd shapes for Luise. And I get it, because every step we do here is going to add more inspiration. Okay, and I'm also thinking now, before I sew all these pieces down, I didn't do any on this one. So before I sew all my pages, I also want to add a little bit of ink, especially here on the parts that I have folded, because once I sew them down, it will be more difficult. So I'm going to use some techniques I, of course, learned from dear Luise, because Luise is our little junk journal scientist, and she has shared so many techniques over the years. This is something similar to what I have also done in the journal that I made for her 2 years ago. So I want to make the edges wet, and actually I could do that all at the same time. I think I did it differently back then. I think then I did it once all the signatures were sewn in. Luise has this special technique where she also hammers in onto her pages for them to get all grungy. We're just going to do this time. So all of these are quite wet, and I'm using my Distress Oxide re-inkers. I don't have that many colors, but I have Vintage Photo, Forest Moss, which is of course Luise's favorite color, and also Rusty Hinge. I think they go together really well, and I also think they go together really well with the printables that we decided to use. If you don't have any of these, I will probably also be using the nozzles of my spray stains and spray oxides. You can also use thinned down acrylic paint or watercolor, or even anything water soluble actually, because you could also use like water soluble crayons. But I'm using these now because I know that the intensity of these is very high. I don't think there's enough water. I know, if you've never done this, this might seem crazy. But we're going for grunge, baby. And I don't know what's happening here. Oh dear, look at this. Good thing I have gloves on. Something is happening with my forest moss distress oxide. I don't know why that is. That has also stained my cabinet. But thank goodness it's water soluble. Okay, it's going to get messy, obviously. So let's add some here to the edge. Just randomly, more or less. And then we can spray more water so that that really adds the grunge. Look at this. Ooh, I love it. And of course, this will lighten up once it's dry. So don't panic if your colors seem very strong at the beginning. Yes, look at the mess. And we have some already on the second paper. That is awesome. We are obviously not being precious, and I feel like I'm going to lose some of these stars. That's okay. We are not being precious. So now we have this whole mess here as well. We can kind of just dip this in. No, this is probably not everyone's cup of tea because it does require a little bit of courage to just get messy and to not be precious about the outcome, you know, just kind of go with the flow, see what happens, and embrace the unpredictable grunge. We'll just let it drip on to the next page. I'm having fun. Look at this. Oh my goodness, how fun. So I don't even think we need much more pigment here. We just spread it out a bit more with the water. Wow. Look at that. Wow. I am already very excited to see what this will look like once it's dry. That will take a moment to dry, but I think I'll just lay these out on my balcony. The sun is shining. Yes, 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 yes. Embracing the mess. Okay, then let's add some of the forest moss. We cannot go without that. Oops, I just made a hole. Oh, in both of these. That's okay. And look, the tear is getting a lot bigger here. Also, that's okay. I know some of you are screaming inside now or screaming at the screen. That's possible. Like, Barbara, your pages. Trust the process. And look how beautifully these are already mixing. And then we can just, oh my goodness, wait, I don't have enough space here. Okay, so let's, because I want to move this one, let's just also add some of the rusty hinge before I move it. You've got to move it, move it. Oh, wow. This really feels like being a kid, almost like finger painting without finger painting, you know what I mean? This is insane. Okay, that was a lot of rusty hinge. I will give you that. But that's okay because we can have it drip on the other pages. That way we probably won't need any other. Wow. Look how cool this is already looking. This is gonna look awesome when it's dry. Okay, I'm going to move this to the side. I have some newspapers behind me, or I can just put this on. I'm so happy I have gloves on. Okay, this needs some of the Forest moss. Okay, Luise definitely did not do this. She would probably shake her head at this method. No, I think she would embrace it because it's unexpected grunge, and I think Luise is all for it. Okay, there's a lot of color here. Wow. Okay, let's see what they will look like. Let's move this one over as well. Look at all these cool marks here we have already. I don't think I've ever done this before like this, and this was not planned like this, but it just kind of happened. And now everything is like a brown sludge, mud color, which is usually what you're trying to avoid. But hey, it's cool. Just embrace your inner child. But I do want to add a little more. Whoops, that was a lot. That's the hinge. Okay, let's add some on the back. This is really drenched. Oh no, we have another hole. Oh, and another tear. Of course, the more wet these are, the easier they tear. So let's move this one to the side. And this is our last one. This is the one with the stars. Let's just gently dip that in. And I'm hoping I'm not totally going to lose all the star designs. But look at this amazing oxidation here. Okay, we'll leave this and let that dry as well. And since we have so much of this mess left over, and we're going to be making pockets or tuck spots or something in the next episode, I want to take 3 more coffee dyed papers and just dip them in so that I have something to make the tuck spots and pockets and everything with. And then of course these will fit together beautifully because we're using the same colors. For these, I actually only have to concentrate on one side because we'll only be seeing one side. And they are tearing. Let's move this gently. Okay, so that's the second one ready for drying. Okay, so that's number 3. So if I keep doing this, I'm never going to get rid of this, and I really don't want to waste it. What else can we do with this and our existing papers maybe? Why don't we just dip our existing papers into this without wetting them and see what happens? Because just because they already have a design on them doesn't mean that we can't add more color and grunge, right? So let's add more water here. Use that as kind of like a palette. Add some more of these colors. Now it's really getting crazy. And just dip and see what happens. And maybe not spray water, because this is also cool, isn't it? Let's just leave that. Maybe a little bit on the back as well. Oh yeah. Gorgeous. Oh yeah, baby, look at this. That's beautiful. I hope this is still going to be neutral enough. Because, you know, we said we're doing neutral pages so that we are very flexible with our ephemera, but doesn't look that neutral anymore. But by using these same colors now throughout the pages, of course, everything is going to be very cohesive. It is so freeing to kind of just let go and not be perfectionistic, not be precious, not think about what the outcome should look like, but just embracing the mess and having fun. This is great. So maybe I should start using some of the pages of the other signatures. I mean, it looks like I'm going to be changing the order anyway, but I just want to make sure. Oh, look at this. That is beautiful. You know, I want the grunge spread out throughout the whole journal, obviously. Such a different effect if you wet the papers first or not. I love it. Let's see what happens if we add some to this vellum. No idea how this is going to react. Oh, wow. How gorgeous is that? Challenge yourself this Dephemerember and do things you normally wouldn't do. No matter if you like the result or not, you're going to learn something from it. This looks like there's fire on the bottom now, right? I love it. It's the next morning and these have dried. Let me just share these results with you. If this isn't enough grunge for Luise, then I can't help her. This is, of course, only stage 1 of manipulating the papers. This one I wasn't sure was going to dry at all because it's this glassine. I did have to dab away some of the color that was still there. Actually, there's still a tiny bit that seems wet. So it did not completely dry, but I just dabbed it. I like this one a lot. This one also I wasn't sure, but this actually dried quite nicely. I just see here it's still a bit wet there. This one hardly has anything on that side, but this side is beautiful. I don't know if you agree with that, but I love these. There's not too much here, but I do love these bits. There's nothing actually on this one. I don't know how that happened, but that's fine. I just love this. Very art journal-y actually, right? That should be right up Luise's alley, since her channel is called Junk Journal Art. And she loves mixing the artsy aspect of junk journaling. I love this as well. I love this here because really it looks so much like fire. This whole page now looks like there's fire. I hope this is not triggering for anyone. Love this. This is a bit much for me, but I hope Luise will like it. It looks like it's burnt almost. This I really like. And these are the coffee dyed papers. They look very different, but I like the way they came out. Not quite so neutral anymore. Oh my goodness. we have this tear. We'll figure out if we just leave it or if we tear the page maybe further or fold it up. We'll see. This one is torn here, which is not great because it's right in the middle where the sewing would be. So I guess I'll use this one for making ephemera. And then I love this one. This was where the stars were, which we can still see, but I think this page looks so cool now. So my next step is going to be to add some structure paste. I got myself this new one because I couldn't find the one by Tim Holtz that I had. I hardly have any left because it has dried out. So I want to try this one from Marabout, which I think is a German brand. And it has like a fine sand texture. I would have preferred a completely soft one, but I couldn't find any, interestingly. So let's just try this one. Never used it before. I'm not putting this on all the pages, but I think, for example, here it could look really cool. Let's try this stencil. This one is by Studio Light, but I don't have the name of it, unfortunately. Oh, it's very light texture paste. Wow. It's like almost very fluffy. Oh, but it works really well. Look at that. Love that. And I'm curious whether the oxide is going to come through this texture paste or not. Let's add some up here as well. You can also make your own texture paste. I've done that a lot in the past by just mixing either white acrylic paint or gesso with very fine grained sand. And then you can make it the consistency that you like. I like it. I'll put it here on purpose on the ink to see if it will come through. Yeah, that's not quite what I wanted it to look like, but it will be okay. And let's add some here. I am mindful not to put it right where the crease is. That wouldn't be great. Yeah, that worked better. This one is by Deco Art Americana, and it has the number 201709. I thought this nature theme will go well here. Ooh, that looks cool. Oh, I think that will go really well on this one. Into half. The hardest thing about decorating pages like this with mixed media is, of course, the drying time. Because again, we're going to have to wait for hours for this to dry. Wow, gorgeous. Let's take this one. This one is again Studio Light. Let's add some dots. This one, I have no idea. There's nothing on it and I don't have the packaging anymore. I just want a partial image of this, not the whole thing. Oh, wow. That's gorgeous. I actually don't want to add too much texture paste to too many pages. It might seem otherwise right now, because I think the texture paste is going to make it more difficult for Luise to add something else on top because it is raised, but I think a little bit is fine. And this one, by the way, is by Dephemerember. I don't see a number for it though. So I love the continuation of the circles that we have in the digital here with our texture paste. One thing that you also should be mindful of is if you want to sew around all your pages, if you have structure paste, that might not work so well. So we'll just do a couple more. Okay, this will be the last one. Let's do some more small dots. Okay. On at least some of these, I want to add some embossing glaze on top. I'm going to use the speckled egg on this one. This needs to happen when it's still damp. Yeah. Ah, yes, it worked. Look. Haha, how cute. But we do need to let this dry completely before we emboss it. Oh, these are so cute. I love these. I'll also do these in blue because I want to have my favorite color combination on these. The beautiful dark yellow with this light blue. Oh my goodness, it is so beautiful. Could also do some of this in blue, and then we can do some with the fossilized amber. Oh wow, look at the mix here. That is gorgeous. I need to do that more. Wow. Oh, and look here, it's just been a couple of minutes and the yellow from the ink underneath is already coming through. So let's add maybe another color. How about pumice stone? I think that would look really good on that one. Maybe we can mix it. Let's do pumice stone in the middle here. Wow. And then we'll do something else on the outsides. Oh, this is fun. I've never mixed colors like that, but why not? Which one shall we use? You know what? Let's put a red. I'm already so far off the, let's do the abandoned coral. It's not quite as bright red. I wanted to say I'm already so far off the keeping it neutral. So might as well just embrace this at this point. All right, I am curious to see what that's going to look like once that is heat embossed. Look also here, oh my goodness, it's so yellow. I'm not a huge fan of that kind of yellow. So let's put something over that. Red is not going to work on that one. This is definitely a candidate for pumice stone. I'm not going to mix it, I'll just do the whole thing. Like so, and we have some more up here. What do we do with that? Oh, I think that one needs fossilized amber. I need more embossing glaze colors because I feel quite restricted with what I have, and I seem to be using these quite a lot, much more than I did at the beginning when I first got a couple of these. I really think I have to expand my collection. They're just so fun. This one needs to be blue. It would probably be so much quicker if I decided, you know, all the ones that need to be blue and do that first, and then all the ones that need to be yellow and so on. Oh, you know what? I'm going to mix this one. Let's do yellow in the middle. Oh yeah, this is gonna look good if it still works. I don't know if it's too dry or not. It's still fine. So we have the yellow in the middle. Should we dare to do 3 colors? What could the third one be? Pumice stone? Okay, let's just go for it. Why not? So I'll put the pumice stone on this middle row. And then on the outside one, we'll do the speckled egg. I'm so curious when this is embossed. Oh my goodness. On this one, I'm going to do gold embossing powder. Wow, look at the yellow coming through here. I think, should we just add there? Let's just add gold here as well. Okay, this is going to be interesting. And on this one, let's do something else. Let's do speckled egg on this one. I think this one is just going to look like a blob, to be honest. Since there's the yellow here, we're going to add the blue down here. And here as well. I'm surprised this is still sticking because the texture paste has dried quite a bit because it's quite hot here. And these also need to be yellow, blue, because there's so much yellow on the page. I just also want to mention, if you do this, you have to be very sure that the ink is very dry, because if your ink is still damp, your embossing powder will stick everywhere and it will look like a complete mess. On this one, let's try rusty hinge. Maybe one rusty hinge and one gold. Let's do this one in gold. And we'll try this one with the rusty hinge. And this is our last one. What do we do with you? I'm almost tempted to do something very unexpected, like candied apple. You know what? I'm going to do it. Luise, don't hate me. I know it's not neutral. I have to do this. It's such an unlikely combination for this page that it might just look amazing, or it might just look horrible. We'll see once it's embossed. You have to embrace the experimentation, and you also have to know that you're not always going to make the best choices. Let's add a little more here. But that's what experimenting is for. Let's just add a little bit here. So it's a few hours later and the structure paste is dry. So let's emboss this one together, and then I'll show you the rest, which I have already embossed. So what I'm going to do with this one quickly before it cools down is to actually sprinkle some golden embossing powder over it, because I think it needs a little more shine. I'm not sure any of that is actually still on there. I think that might have been too cold already. Let's try it. Nope, there is like none, like really none. And what I noticed from adding it to such a coarse, I mean, it's not really coarse, but of course in comparison to a smooth texture paste, it does have a structure, the fine sand, which feels cool. But I noticed that the embossing glaze doesn't shine as much as on the smooth embossing powder. You can hardly even see it in the video that there's any shine at all. Nevertheless, it looks cool and it feels amazing. But I am determined to add some gold here as well. So I'll try it with my embossing pen to just kind of dab it on in some areas, hoping that it stays moist enough for the gold to actually stick there. Never tried this before. It's always a first time. And of course, I don't want everything to be gold. I still want to see the colors. Try number 2. Oh yeah, you see it? Now it's there. Yay! So this is what it looks like when it's heat embossed. Can you see that shine? Oh my goodness, this is absolutely amazing. I'm so glad I tried this, and seeing this now, I think I'm going to have to add this on some of the others as well. Wow, it doesn't really come out as nice on camera as it is in real. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so let me show you the other ones. I mean, the gold always works. It just never disappoints. Love that. That was the rusty hinge. It's all right. It doesn't have a lot of shine. Then we have this one. This was the candied apple. Very interesting look. Definitely not what I would usually do, but that's probably why I love it. Then we have these speckled egg dots. Also not super shiny. Can you see? More dots here, and here we can see the yellow is actually even coming through, which totally makes sense because the embossing glazes are of course translucent. Oh, did I do this one? Yeah, I did. See, some of these I can't even tell if they're embossed because the shine is so subtle, but yeah, these are embossed. Again, here we see a lot of the yellow coming through the speckled egg. This is, as I predicted, kind of like just a blob, but at least it's a golden blob, so that's okay. We have more speckled egg here. This one looks really cool. This was, of course, the mixture of fossilized amber and speckled egg. I love this transition here. This is such a cool area. I think this will have to get some more gold. Then this one here was completely gold. Love, love, love that. More speckled egg dots. On this one here, remember we had the hickory smoke. Was it hickory smoke? No, it was pumice stone. Pumice stone in the middle. Again, we have a lot of the yellow coming through from the ink. And then we had the abandoned coral on the sides, which turns out to be exactly the same as the Distress Oxide ink refiller. That was amazing to me. Here we have fossilized amber and pumice stone. Again, the yellow came through a lot on this one. So that was all of the glazed ones. So I think I'll add some more gold sprinkles to some of these. I'll do that off camera. And then I want to do some stamping as well. So let me show you some of the other pages where I added some gold. On this one, I decided not to add it on the dots, but to add it on the leaves in the printable. Love that look as well. On this one, I added it on some of the dots. I like that so much better than without the gold. Gold just makes everything better. Nothing on this one. This one I experimented a bit and just added some on some of the edges. Didn't come out quite like I hoped, but yeah, it's an interesting accent. Here again, I just added it on some of the dots. And on this one, I just added it on the M and the 1. No particular reason why I chose those two. And that's it. So that's it for today's video, and I hope you enjoyed getting messy and adding these creative layers with me. There's still more fun ahead, so make sure to catch the next video where we'll finish decorating these pages as well as sewing in our signatures. And if you're following along with your own journal, I'd love to see what you've created. Feel free to share it with me on social media. And don't forget to check out Luise's video where she's adding her own creative details to the journal she's making for me. As always, you'll find all the links and resources mentioned in the description below. Thanks for crafting with me today, and I hope to see you in the next one. Love you guys. Mwah, mwah.